Non nobis Domine, non nobis, sed nomini tuota gloria. This was the Latin motto chosen by the Knights Templar, one of the most incredible monastic order of knighthood of the Middle Ages. Their deeds are connected to myths and legends. It is told, for example, that they kept for centuries the most important Christian relics. In 1119, the chroniclers of the period told about a pilgrim caravan assailed and plundered by a group of Muslims between Jerusalem and the Jordan River. It was not the first time, but this 17th episode of violence boosted a nobleman of the Champagne region, Hugo Paine, to create a military armed association to protect pilgrims. The solution founded by Hugues de Payens met perfectly with the Holy Land's necessities, and Baldwin II, King of Jerusalem, gave its own palace that rose in the same place where it was built the Solomon's Temple to the Knights, which from that moment began to be called the Knights of the Temple. The Templar army clashed for long years with the Muslim troops in the Holy Land, but once abandoned Jerusalem, the Knights landed on the European coasts, gaining extending properties and numerous castles. The growth of the order was helped even further by the favor of popes and by the complete economic and legal independence from kings of that period. But in 1307, Philip the Handsome, King of France, decided to take up a way to destroy the Templar power. Thanks to a piloted trial in which he accused them of heresy, he succeeded to condemn the order. The members that didn't deny it should have been burnt alive. In this way will die the last Grand Master, Jacques of Molay. The history of the Knights Templar ended on May 18, 1314, the day of the stake of the last 4 high dignitaries of the order, but their legends and the myth of the treasures kept in secret places continue to fire our imagination. But what was the Templar treasure composed of? Besides a large number of documents written on papyrus and copper, and secrets on Christian and Jewish culture, it seems that it was composed by invaluable holy relics, such as the Ark of the Covenant, the True Cross of Christ, the Shroud, the Holy Grail, and the Menorah. These relics came directly from the Solomon's Temple, and it was just the base in Solomon's Temple that gave rise to incredible legends. It is told that for long years the Knights Templar dug day and night into the temple's foundation, unearthing these treasures. These holy relics have been sought for all over the world, with a particular attention to Italy, where is preserved one of the most famous parts of the treasure of the Knights Templar, the Holy Shroud. From here, our journey will take an Italian way. We will walk among the Italian places that saw the history of the Knights Templar to investigate on the clues they left us, discovering mysteries and stories. We will especially talk about 2 similar cities, even if divided from more than 600 kilometers, which share history and legends. Our guides in this tour among the Templar messages will be Rome and Turin. The shroud is a flax sheet woven in a herringbone pattern that contains the double image drawn by the head of a man died after a series of tortures, culminated with the crucifixion. The Holy Shroud appears for the first time in Constantinople in 944 Anno Domini, and according to some documents, it is not made by hand. In 1945, in the village of Templecombe, in an ex-Templar preceptor, it was found a wooden panel on which is painted a face similar to the one represented on the shroud. The iconography of the Knights Templar can be connected to this shroud because, from the proceedings of the process, we knew that the order was accused of idolatry, and it seems that this idol was a bearded head known as Baphomet, that the descriptions generally represent with 2 or 3 faces. The most recent representation is by Eliphas Levi, one of the most famous esotericism scholars of the 19th century, and it describes the Baphomet as a humanoid with wings and breast, with a torch on the head between the horns. This figure is often confused with the image of Satan. But let's go back to the shroud. It probably passed into the Knights Templar hands, which already demonstrate to be able to defend their treasures for security reasons. In 1452, the shroud became a treasure of the Savoy family, and in 1578 it arrived to Turin, where it is still kept as a fragment of Vatican after being donated by Umberto of Savoy in 1982 to John Paul II. Analyzing the connection between the shroud and the Knights Templar, one of the theories we have to talk about links the funerary sheet to the Grail. The tradition identifies this relic with the cup used by Christ during the Last Supper, and then utilized by Joseph of Arimathea to collect Jesus' blood after his death. But where is today the Grail? There are numerous scholars and historians that place it just in Italy, precisely in Rome and Turin. The journalist and researcher Alfredo Barbagallo, that since years studies the mystery of the Grail, assessed that the legendary chalice could be in the Basilica of St. Lawrence outside the walls. In support of this hypothesis, we can find a very rich iconography reminding the Grail, but there is another church in Rome that connects the capital with Turin. It is St. Lawrence at Lucina, where is buried Nicolas Poussin, author of the famous The Arcadian Shepherds. Here, reproduced in bas-relief, where it appears, as in the paint, the mysterious writing Et in Arcadia Ego, object of numerous studies and cue for a lot of legends. Always in St. Lawrence at Lucina, there is a stadium holding a chalice that remains another one. It is the statue of the Faith in front of the Church of the Grand Madre in Turin. In its hand, indeed, it is represented a chalice with a long stem that, according to someone, could represent the Grail. The gaze and the right first finger of the statue should show where the Grail could be. Then we have to focus on one of the most important places for the Templar history in Rome. It is the space where is the villa of the Knights of Malta on the Aventine Hill, taken up by a Benedict monastery, passed to the Knights Templar and then to the sovereign military order of Malta. The site is reached by Via Santa Sabina, which ends in the small picturesque Piazza dei Cavalieri di Malta, designed by Giovan Battista Piranesi and characterized by obelisks and plasters. On the square there is also the famous hall in Rome, from which you can see a magic perspective on the St. Peter's Dome, and everything is made suggestive by the presence of Templar crosses and Masonic symbols. Today the unsolved mysteries and the questions are still a lot, and nobody could answer them for certain. Despite the passing of the centuries, the mysterious Knights of the Solomon's Temple won't stop arousing our curiosity.